Guys, welcome back to LS Vintage Design. I'm Lisa. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're having an amazing day. There is a lot going on. Our promo for our vintage tea parties is about to go up, so I'm super excited about that. We're also working on our genealogy or family history class 101, so that will be a lot of fun. And let's see. Oh, the big news is we are starting to migrate from Etsy to our own website. This is going to be just, I think, much better for everybody involved. So head over to the website tomorrow. Today is Tuesday. I'd say by Wednesday. And we should have a couple of items already transferring over. If not, definitely wait until this weekend and we'll have a lot of products over there. It'll probably be about 50-50 for a little while. You know, it just takes me time to get them moved, to get pictures taken, get them uploaded, the whole process. But I am going to be migrating, and it is starting, so that, like I said, is very exciting. Today, though, we are talking about how to care for vintage fashion, and I get so many questions about this, so I thought I would talk about it. It's something that is becoming more and more of a question because more and more people are starting to own vintage clothing. Whether you go to the thrift store and you find things that were from grandma or grandpa or great grandma and grandpa that grandma and grandpa donated, or maybe your couture vintage fashion and you've just picked up, a couture Chanel dress, a vintage Chanel dress, shoes, and bag, and you want to take care of those to the best of your abilities. So what I have today are tips for your vintage fashion, whether it's just grandpa and grandma's off-the-rack clothes that they bought 40, 50 years ago, or it's the couture. And fashion is fragile. Okay, I mean, if you wash your clothes too harshly, they're gonna fade, they're gonna peel. Even expensive clothes fade and peel. Maybe not as fast as the more inexpensive, but they do. So fashion in general is fragile. Then you add in time, multiple washings, however they were cared for, whether properly or improperly, where they were located, how they were stored from the time they were stopped worn till the time they ended up wherever you got them from. There's a lot that goes into vintage fashion and its condition and how well it's going to hold up when you get it. Now, of course, if you've paid a pretty penny for something, you want it to last at least a fairly good time and you want to get to wear it more than once. So I'm going to start with some ways that you can help preserve your vintage fashion or your everyday, like good clothes. And one is garment bags. Keeping your clothes in garment bags protects them from dust. And you're like, I don't have dust in my closet. What are you talking about? Let's just say this. You do have dust in your closet because your closet doors are open and closed. And maybe your closet is an airtight chamber, which I doubt, but maybe it is airtight, but your room's not, your house isn't. So dust gets in there. And then sometimes closets have air vents in them. And if they have air vents, there's a lot of dust that comes through an air vent. And that'll blow down on your clothes, literally blow from the air vent. Sorry, my battery died. Okay. So you do get dust. I mean, dust will literally blow out of an air vent. If you have one in your closet, you're probably having your clothes, the dust blown. It just happens. I have both. I have a closet right now with no air vent in it. They don't get as dusty. I had a closet with an air vent and they got super dusty. So that does play a big part in it, but there is dust in your closet. So garment bags. Well, what kind of garment bags? The best kind are breathable. Muslin or the polypropylene, a mixture, you want them breathable, okay? Because when you put clothes and you seal them up in plastic, they're going to smell. I mean, they just are. So you don't want to do that. And please, if you dry clean your clothes now, your modern clothes, your clothes now, your vintage clothes, take them out of the dry cleaner bags. That's the worst thing in the world you can leave your clothes in. So, garment bags. That's a great way to protect your vintage fashion. Hangers. Now, how many of you have watched the organizing show with the two ladies? Okay, and they're always going, "Can I get rid of your hangers?" As much as that annoys me, that's a good thing, okay? Wire hangers are really bad for any type of clothes. Even t-shirts like this, if they're hung up on a wire hanger, they will get those little wire hanger marks up here in the shoulders. Then I just look really strange walking around all day. So yes, those are really bad, and you really don't want wire hangers. But do you have to go out and spend a fortune? No. Should you if you have a lot of vintage clothes? It would be worth it because you invested in the vintage or the couture. You should invest in how you keep them. Now, not everything can be hung. Sweaters, knit fabrics, stretchable fabrics, you don't want to hang those because they're going to stretch down the hanger. You either want to keep those in a flat storage box, or you want to fold them in acid-free tissue, or you want to fold them over a hanger so they're not being creased. And the hanger you want to fold them over could be the velvet hangers. It could be special hangers that are thicker so they're not that thin like a wire hanger. And I said tissue, acid-free tissue paper. Yes, you want acid-free. If your tissue paper is not acid-free, it's going to leach things into your clothes. Not only should you be careful how you hang your sweaters, your tops, your jackets, but also your pants. The best thing for pants is clipping them. You can buy hangers that are pants hangers with the clips. You can also buy, what do you call these things? You know, they go on the clothesline, clothespins. You can buy clothespins and hook your pants to your hangers that way. Tissue, it eliminates creases. You can also use it to, if you have a shirt with shoulder pads, remember the 80s, if you put them on the hangers, they get like this, and then you walk around with a tent, not a shoulder pad. Okay, so if you have a shirt and you have a shoulder pad and you're not using a special type of hanger, at least put some tissue paper under there so it smooths it and you don't get the tent shape to your shoulder pad. And yes, shoulder pads are coming back. You could also use the tissue to shape your purses or your shoes. Again, this is just expensive. If you spent the money on a couture or an expensive bag, you don't want it kind of flopped over, losing its shape in your closet. Stuff it with tissue paper so it kind of holds its form. Same with your shoes. Really good. And you might say, well, I'll just take my clothes to a dry cleaners. What are you talking about? Keep in mind, vintage fashion was made a long time ago. Maybe before certain dry cleaning processes began. Maybe before the harsh chemicals that are used in dry cleaning were around. So a lot of vintage clothes do not stand up to today's dry cleaning. Keep that in mind. Might be better to wash at home. Woolite, wash and stain bar, those kind of things might be better for your vintage fashion and your investment than taking them to your dry cleaners and letting them ruin it because your vintage blouse melted under the new chemicals. Also, steamers. A lot of vintage clothes cannot withstand an iron. Irons are very harsh. A lot of today's clothes can't stand irons. They're very harsh. Sometimes a fabric will say put a towel over it. But a steamer is a great way to get wrinkles out and not put that harsh heat. Those steamers do get hot. I have a vintage steamer in my Etsy shop, which is coming over to my website. And they get very hot as well. So make sure the fabric can withstand it. If it can't, then you shouldn't do it. And you might say, Mike, throw it in the dryer. That might work for t-shirts, but it's not going to work for fabrics that maybe get pulled or melted, especially vintage. There again, what was around when this fabric was made? What was it made to withstand? Were people still, clean, doing laundry at home? Were there, that sort of thing. Beeswax bars. Now, a lot of times vintage zippers, whether they're metal or plastic, they rust. They get stuck. They don't go up and down like they should. And that happens a lot of times to today's zippers as well. And just a beeswax bar rub up and down along the zipper will help it to get unstuck, and it will go on its merry way. Purse pillows, those are exactly what they sound like. They're pillows made to go into your purse to keep the shape. And again, all of this is, personal choice, but I think you have to weigh how much you spent on your investment in the vintage fashion versus the care and how you store it. Vinegar. Now, I talked about vinegar for furniture and odds and end pieces, everything. And again, it works on clothes. A very light mist will lift out thrift store smoke, other smells. Underarm shields. Okay. They look like shoulder pads, but they're not. They go on top of your bras, right here, in your shirts, in your dresses, and they protect your sensitive fabrics from human perspiration sweat, because it's very damaging. And how many of you have ever had a white t-shirt or a white tank top and the underarm's gotten brown, black underneath, and you just can't get it out? It's stained. That's from sweating, guys. So the underarm shields protect against that. The undershirts do as well. And then we have red cedar blocks. You can put those in shoes. You can put those in your closet. In shoes, they'll kind of soak up the odor. In the closet, they'll prevent moths from coming. Shoe trees to protect your shoes, to keep them their form so they don't fold in. They'll stay nice the way you want them to, and you can get them in red cedar for the odors as well. And lavender sachets can go if you have vintage slips or vintage panties, or maybe your closet, just in your closet. They just soak up odors that can accumulate. I mean, cooking odors, maybe something didn't get washed all the way, maybe you forgot to put laundry soap in, whatever. They soak up odors, but they don't work very long, and they're not going to do anything for preserving the quality of the fabric, but they're there. So guys, those are some ideas to protect your vintage fashion, which I call your vintage investment, because a lot of vintage fashion isn't cheap. And if you get it at the thrift store, you've taken your time to go hunt for it, and you found it, you love it. Of course, you don't want anything to happen to it either, so you do want to protect it. I hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure and give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little bell. Also, don't forget we have our promo on our tea party coming out, so watch for that. And head over to our website and hit subscribe so you'll know when our vintage shop is open and when our vintage Family History 101 class is up, ready to purchase. Thanks for being here today, guys. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.